It's HPR, All Things Considered, and I'm Dave Lawrence. Today offering up a remembrance of musician Jack Russell, vocalist in the band Great White, who passed away last week at 63 of Lewy body dementia and multiple system atrophy. While Jack and the band had a few memorable radio hits, Great White are perhaps best known as the group whose concert went awry in 2003 in Rhode Island when pyrotechnics set off a massive fire at the venue, killing 100 people, including the band's guitarist. That event is among topics we discussed in 2017 when a new album, He Saw It Coming, brought Jack to us. And as you'll hear, that album title factors into some early childhood experiences that shaped the career of Great White's Jack Russell.
I've always been like a latent hippie, you know. Actually, the closest I got to seeing the Dead was when we were doing a show on Judas Priest, and we pulled up at a hotel, and we were playing the next night, and the Grateful Dead was playing that night, and there was a park next to the hotel, and there was all these tents, thousands of them, thousands of people with tie-dye, and just, it was like a hippie fest. I used to wear the tie-dye shirts and the hippie beads, and I was kind of like, I was a little too late to be a hippie. You know what I mean? When I was born in 1960. I was right on the cusp.
Right.
But I've always had that hippie attitude, you know?
And you have a very organic sound when folks are checking out either the classic Great White material or certainly He Saw It Coming. Starting with it, where did He Saw It Coming? Where's the title? Fill me in.
Okay, now this is a story. I'm going to tell you, this is a true story. A lot of it depends on your belief system. Okay, I happen to believe in a higher power, where I call God. Some people call it, whatever. Some people don't believe in it. Well, through my personal experience, I was 6 years old. Well, I was actually turning 6. I was 5 years old. And before that, I wanted to be an archaeologist. That was my dream. As a little kid, I wanted to be an archaeologist. I wanted to go dig up bones in Old Divide Gorge in Africa and, early man and stuff like that. And at 6 years old, my parents bought me an album called Help by the Beatles. And I remember like this like it was yesterday. I got the album, and I took it out, and I saw that it was on a Capitol, because I had some other Capitol records by the Beach Boys and stuff. And I put that on my little record player, I mean, maybe you know what I'm talking about. Depends on how old you are. And it was playing, and I'm going like, all of a sudden, it was as if the skies opened up, and angels came down, blowing trumpets. I mean, that didn't happen, but it was as if, you know what I mean? It was such a heavy feeling of like, wow, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is why I was put here. And this was something that I just knew. It wasn't like I hope, wish, dream, think. And after that, I just put all my energy toward that because I knew that's what was going to happen. And during my life, I've had periods like I've been in situations that, well, you're never going to be a rock star now because you're in jail, for example, you got 8 years, and then something would happen, and I ended up getting out in 11 and signed a major record deal a year later. I mean, nothing was stopping it. So that was what the album's about. It's about predestination. It's about manifest destiny, where I've been and what I've been through, but I'm still here doing it.
Personal experiences that leave you in a certain way, but you've been through, anyone who knows your history, you've definitely been through a lot, and I can see.
Yeah, most of it was all self-induced. The only one thing that happened that I could say wasn't my fault was, the tragedy in Rhode Island. But, all the broken bones, everything else, that was my fault. That was my stupidity, being drunk and finding out that gravity really does work.
Right. No question. And you mentioned it. I mean, I got to believe that thing, I actually I lived in Boston for like 12 years, and then I was out here when that thing happened. But I got to believe that the station incident must have still, does it loom large in your consciousness?
It's something I think about every day out of respect to my friends, I don't ever want not to remember them, because I lost so many. I mean, it would surprise people to know how many of those people I knew personally, because we've been going there for 20 years. And at a small place like that, you end up meeting just about everybody.
The regulars.
One time or another, Same people come out, pretty soon they're your friends. I had friends that flew out to see me, unbeknownst to me, from Los Angeles. I'm like, why would you fly to Rhode Island in the winter to see a small club show? Why didn't you just wait, And I didn't even know about this until after it happened. And I lost so many friends that night, and people don't understand, I do know a bit about grief, I mean, maybe not to the depth of losing a wife or a son or being horrifyingly disfigured, you know what I mean?
There's a lot of levels to it, is what you're saying, and you've definitely been touched.
I don't know. I just, the thing I hate the worst is when I hear people calling me a murderer, and somebody says, you murdered my son. It's like, I'm not a bad guy, and I wouldn't go do anything like that to anybody, if I knew that was coming, or if I had any way I could have stopped that from happening, that would have been the first thing I would have done. And then I heard there's this rumor going around that was saying, oh, yeah, Jack wouldn't do the show if you didn't have pyro. It's like, that is such a crock. I would never, ever do that. Not to mention, you don't shit where you eat, and the promoter saying they didn't give us permission. It's like, well, then why would we do it? And I was spending money I didn't have every time we used it anyway. So I was happy when we didn't. My tour manager said we couldn't do it. I was like, oh, cool. Maybe I'll make a check this week.
Because that stuff costs money to put on the show, you're saying, each night, and use that equipment.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not cheap, But they did all the forensics, and the owners had installed this flammable foam, and they had one of the doors blocked off with another door, so people went to push out on the emergency bar and it wouldn't open because there was another door behind it that nobody knew about. I mean, it was just a tragedy all the way around, and I'm so sorry that happened, and I wish that I could go back in time and change it, but that's not a possibility. You have to just go on, and if people or upset me because I'm going on, it's like, what else am I supposed to do? I have a family and I have responsibilities, and, I have to go on too. So we all have to go on. We're all handed our hands in life, and mine hasn't always been easy.
Yeah, it's powerful. Who do you credit? You told the great story of getting the help from the Beatles, and man, have they inspired so many folks. But when you think back to that period, who do you credit with introducing you to music, and maybe share some early moments of where you began exploring your own singing talents?
Well, when I was 11, I started my first band. My first time singing was in a choir in 5th grade in military school I was at for a couple of years. And then after that, the band I started, there was a guy that lived behind me. We moved to Whittier. And I was up in my backyard, and I heard this music, David Bowie, being played from the street above me. So I walked around, and it was coming out of this guy's garage. So I went and knocked on it, and I said, hey, you sound pretty good. So I go, I sing. He goes, really? I go, yeah. He goes, well, sing a song with me. I go, okay. And we're doing Suffragist City and, Diamond Dogs and things like that. And he goes, well, we should start a band, man. He goes, okay, I know some people. So we started a little band, and it was actually really good. And we made a recording of All Right Now on a reel-to-reel live in my drummer's house. And I played it for my dad, and he goes, Jesus Christ, Jack, that's really good. What do you need? What can I get you? I go, PA system? Okay, let's go get one right now, My dad was always behind me no matter what, He used to take my band's equipment around. He had a tow hitch on his 59 Corvette, and he would hook a trailer up to it. And you see this classic Corvette coming up to this party, with towing equipment. It was just a riot. The guy he was,
That's cool. It's very cool. Record is He Saw It Coming. It's Jack Russell, Great White. Really do appreciate you sharing some stories, and I'm wishing you only the best, brother.
Thank you, too. You too, man.
Aloha, brother.
Aloha.